animals have been taken by Memphis Animal Services so far this year. Most of them strays or owner surrenders.
But several hundred animals fall into the confiscate category, taken from owners because of abuse or neglect. Caring for those animals is one thing, prosecuting the owners, quite another.
Hi, I'm Hannah Jones. I'm a teacher at Moore High School, and I foster animals in my free time.
My name is Katie Robertson, and I'm the shelter manager at the Brown County Humane Society in Nashville, Indiana.
So one of my mom's friends, she has fostered and worked with and taken animals to the Humane Society before, and she actually told us about a job. So I became a camp counselor at their summer camps at the Humane Society. So I always knew they did fostering, but I never was old enough, or I never had my own place where I could actually foster. And then it had just always been on my mind, and then I was kind of bored and was really like wanting another dog. So I was like, let me give fostering a chance before I make a big commitment and get another dog. So I just reached out on the website. I applied, and then I emailed the girl whose name was listed, and they reached back out to me, and I got to go to a training, so it was fun. That's all they have there, but they deal with horses, and that's a whole different realm that I would never get into, but there's a lot of stables that will hold the horses, almost like fostering too, until they get adopted. But that's all they do at the Humane Society. But if you go to somewhere like the pound or somewhere like that, they may have other animals also.
We do see some level of people adopting, and maybe they don't know what they're getting into. They get a little overwhelmed. Maybe they adopt an animal that isn't really a good fit for their lifestyle, or things like that. Thankfully, nowadays, a lot of shelters do microchip their animals. So if they happen to get set loose and then picked up as a stray somewhere, we do end up getting them back. And we don't see that a ton. A lot of times we find that people rehome them on Craigslist or Facebook or something like that. And sometimes they find themselves back to us, which is good. But there are a lot of times that people just, they realize that they got in over their head, and they end up bringing them back to us, and, it didn't work out for whatever reason. But that's one of the reasons why it's really, really important to do your research before you get a pet. That way you don't have to go down that path. I would say the majority of the time we don't see horrific neglect cases like you see on TV where they're matted and emaciated and in an awful condition. The majority of the ones that we see are suffering from things like flea infestation, or they've never had any vaccines, or they have overgrown nails. A lot of things that stem from maybe just a lack of education or lack of resources, financial or otherwise. We do get a few cases a year that are just really, really rough shape, but the majority of them are little things that they've got going on that we can fix pretty easily, thankfully. We did have one this year that was really, really upsetting. It was somebody who abandoned the animals in the house. They left, moved, whatever, and they didn't take the animals with them. Our animal control got a call that there were some animals left behind in the house. They went to investigate. There were 2 adult dogs and some puppies in the house. Unfortunately, all the puppies had already passed away from, they hadn't been eating or drinking for at least a couple weeks, we think. And then there was one dog that was running around outside eating out of the trash can and things like that. So we quickly learned that they were eating a lot of trash, a lot of non-edible items, even ceramic dishes they were passing. So we knew they were really struggling. They came in horrible condition. Thankfully, that owner has been charged for that, and will hopefully learn her lesson, and the animals are all doing really good. All of the ones that came in have been adopted except for one. So it's a happy ending.
So they usually have checkups while they're in foster. So we get a log, and it's attached to the crate that we take them to and from the shelter, and it has their name, their weight, and the date, and then it says like how much they should eat each day. And then you're supposed to weigh them at home every so often. Technically, it's every day, and you log their weight and log that they're eating. And they'll email you like when their checkup date is, and you have to bring them back in, and they make sure they're like gaining weight and they're healthy and they're not sick. And then any thing you notice that's different in their stool, or like if their eyes are gooey, if their nose is running, if their ears are gunky, you're supposed to take them back so they can get checked up. So I'm really paranoid, so anytime anything's going on, I get really stressed and just take them back every time just to check up. And then they'll usually send back a medicine, and you just take them home and make sure they take their medicine.
Really hard requirements. It's more like I had mentioned about education and about making sure it's the right fit. You know, there are some places that require you have a fenced-in yard, or require you to be 25 and not have any other pets. I mean, there's all kinds of requirements out there, but we think it's really important to think about the individual animal and the family. You know, some 20-year-old little dogs don't need a fence because they're not going that far. So we just try to make sure it's the best fit for the animal.
But you can volunteer in the shelter, which may just mean spending time with the cats, like petting the cats, or maybe walking a dog, or maybe any of those things. You can also donate things such as old towels or blankets that they can put in the cages for them. You can donate food, you can donate bowls, you can make things for the animals, like you can make bandanas for the dogs so they can take their little pictures for the website. You can make cat toys out of toilet paper rolls. You can make dog tug toys out of old felt. Like, there's so many like cheap, easy things you can do that you can donate.